Hello, everyone, and welcome to Quarantine Chronicles, where we check in with players from their hotel rooms in Australia. And we're kicking things off with the defending Australian Open doubles champ. He's an Olympic silver medalist. He's also been ranked as high as number 5 in the world. Rajeev Ram, it is so great to see you.
Good to see you too, Blair. Virtually. I wish I was seeing more people in person these days, but
Okay, we're going to start with our first and perhaps most important segment. As we did for Tennis Tuesday last year, we're going to call it Wellness Check. And it's maybe more important than ever before, Raj, because at the time of this recording, you're on day 3 of a 14-day hard quarantine at the Pullman Albert Park Hotel. How are you doing?
yeah, no, it's an interesting question. I mean, it was a bit shocking when kind of it all happened and we found out that this was going to be the situation for everyone on our flight. And you can imagine, everybody was writing each other and trying to figure a way out of it. But now it's sort of like, okay, this is the deal. We're here in Australia. Everybody who's been, a citizen of this country has had to do this if they wanted to come back home, if they went abroad. So, it's not something that they're too foreign with around here. And I think for me, it's just kind of been important to, like, strange enough, like, make a schedule for myself each day. Like, okay, I wake up and I have something to eat, and then maybe I do part of a workout, and then I eat again, and then if I do another, something to where each day I actually have some bit of a plan. That seems to help me a bit.
All right, we're going to talk a little bit more about that later, but I want to ask, I know you were allowed to have one person come, but your wife is not with you, correct?
That's right. Yeah, no, she actually, so yeah, she would have had to do the full quarantine no matter what. As it turns out, I'm going to have to do it anyway, but that was kind of the decision maker. And, we love Australia. We love coming here. She loves it as much as I do, but just decided that because of that, this year it was best to, stay home.
All right, you, as we've mentioned already, were unfortunately on one of those flights with a positive case. Did you feel like you understood going in that even one positive on a flight could quarantine the whole flight for those 14 days, or did that come as a surprise to you?
It's a good question. I don't know that I understood it as maybe it was. I don't know if anybody understood it. I think what the deal was is it was a possibility, and perhaps we all thought that it was a low possibility given the fact that they were flying such low capacity flights for us, and if there was a positive test, they were going to do tracing to see if you were near the person who became who tested positive and all. So it just seemed to be that even if somebody was, not everybody would be affected. And then that really wasn't the case due to, I think, a lot of different reasons. There's a new strain out, and who the people were on flights that were positive. So I think we probably all went into it thinking there was a low possibility, and that hasn't worked out as such.
Based on social media, any group texts that you're a part of, I've heard there have been Zoom calls. What do you think is the temperature as of today? Do you think it's kind of gotten into the acceptance phase for most of the hard quarantiners?
I think it's actually all over the map. I think you have guys and girls that were like, I can't believe I'm doing this, and this is terrible. And then I think you've had others who are, on the complete opposite side saying, well, we all knew this was a possibility coming down here, and this is sort of the rules that we have to play by if we want to play in Australia. So I don't think that it's like one side or the other. I actually think it's, you have a little bit of everything.
And where would you say that you fall on that spectrum?
Probably somewhere in the middle, I would say. I'm not gonna. Yeah, I was a little bit shocked and maybe not as accepting in the beginning. Maybe it's getting a little better. I don't know, but I'm certainly not like I can't believe this is happening kind of thing, because this is the rule. I mean, I played. There's a bunch of Aussies and New Zealanders on tour. This is what they've done. When they've gone home, or they haven't gone home because of this, and we're all. I was certainly very well aware of that.
Is it correct to say that the frustration that maybe some people are still feeling at this point isn't so much with the circumstances, but just the fact that they aren't the same for everyone? And some people are going to go into the pre-AO tournaments on the Australian Open with 2 weeks of practice, and some people are not.
Yeah, I think so. And I think there's also some frustration going around just about like the folks that aren't quarantining. I think maybe the organization or whatever, they feel like could have been a little bit better. But I think part of that is due to how many people have now been subject to the hard quarantine, and how much time and effort that's taken in dealing with government situations and just different things. So I think that's been a curveball for everybody. But I think fairness is always something that's an important thing when it comes to tennis, and it's challenging, I think, given this situation.
Sure. What have those Zoom calls been like? Have you been on any of those?
Yeah, I've been on every one that I could get on. Basically, it's Craig Tiley, who is the tournament director here and the CEO of Tennis Australia, talking to us about, what the status is and what the different protocol is and what his talks have been with the government, any ideas, listening to feedback as he always does, and trying to make it the best situation possible. But I think, if I'm being honest, I think he's got more on his plate than he probably thought he would have at this point.
Sure. And you're in an unusual situation. You and Kevin Anderson have both played under Craig at the University of Illinois. Knowing him that way as a coach and obviously knowing him personally, do you have maybe a different perspective on what he's dealing with and his personality and how he's sort of fit to best deal with these really difficult circumstances?
Yeah, I have two thoughts on that. One is knowing him how I do, and knowing him before the rest of the tennis world knew him, or at least a large part of the rest of the tennis world knew him. There's probably not anyone else that I know of in tennis that I would rather have doing this job. That being said, in seeing how it's gone through, it's rattling him. Even if it's rattling him, it's there's a lot. So I think that just speaks to the magnitude and sort of the difficulty of the situation.
Sure. Yeah. I think all of us are glad we are not in his shoes at the moment and can only wish him the best as we navigate the rest of this. But now, Raj, it is time for a segment I am calling Best Practices, where we talk all things practice and preparation, the best that we can from quarantine. And as the defending Australian Open doubles champions, your first time defending a major title, this certainly makes it tougher. And what makes it even tougher is that, or maybe better, it's tough to tell, is that your partner, Joe Salisbury, is not in the hard quarantine. So he is able to practice. You have your coach there. How are you feeling in terms of your tennis?
I am feeling like, I don't know, one of my friends, or one of the guys that helps me quite a lot, said I'm getting pretty good at this, not being prepared situation. And what he means, last year before this tournament, I was actually really sick. I almost didn't come to Australia last year because I was that sick in December, didn't hit hardly at all in the offseason, maybe 3 or 4 times, and played the ATP Cup and was just, kind of getting through it and got better and better, and obviously played great down here. So didn't prepare hardly at all last year. This year, before the Masters, before the Tour Finals, we had the exact opposite situation where Joe was close contact with our coach who got COVID, and he was 14 days in quarantine, couldn't hit a ball before we played in London, which is, one of the biggest tournaments of the year for me. So it was literally the exact opposite situation. His first and only day of practice was the Saturday before our first match on Sunday. So I feel like we've been through this before. I feel like this is just normal to not be prepared for a big tournament for us. How am I going to deal with it? I mean, it's funny, but like I said, we've kind of had these situations come up a few times, and, just have to really just make the best of it and try to be positive and keep your mind a little bit, activated on tennis as much as you can, even though you can't practice. But, we've been there before. So
do you think also the fact that you are a veteran, you're 36 years old, you've been around tennis for your entire life, do you think that is also helpful?
Yeah, I think so, for sure. I mean, I think it helps probably just in the sense that I probably don't need to hit as many balls anyway as somebody who's a bit younger, or certainly I know I don't have to hit as many balls now as I did when I was 25. And then also just, from the mental side of it, just maybe a little less panic and just do what you can do and do your best and all that. But yeah, sure. In a way, it probably does help.
We talked a little bit before we went live about the fact that Joe can practice. You were his practice partner. You now can't leave your room. How is that affecting his practice going in?
Yeah, well, he hasn't unfortunately had a practice as yet, because like I said, they were having some trouble just organizing the people that even are allowed to be the 5 hours out. So still waiting to see, there are a few more people that are in the same boat. So perhaps there could be like a repairing, if you will. I'm kind of letting them deal with that since I really have nothing to do with it. But I'm not sure. I just hope that he does get a situation where he can play some, because he's definitely allowed to at this point.
Do you think in some ways this is actually more of a struggle for doubles players because doubles is so feel and reflex oriented?
I think it's Yeah, and that also, and also just because it doubles the team sport, right? So like if in our situation, if one person can't play, the other guy can do what he can do, but so much of it is kind of like chemistry and how you're feeling. And okay, when you're out there on the court together, what do you think of the conditions? How can we best sort of play our stuff? All of those things that relate to playing as a team. And if one person's not there, then you can't have any of those discussions and go through any of that preparation. So I think, though that also makes it even more challenging.
All right, we've seen players running 5Ks in their room, hitting balls against mattresses, surfing on their beds. We've seen a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I got to say, I didn't Pablo Cuevas end up being the star of the show in quarantine, but he's really done well for himself.
A breakout star, without a doubt. Yeah. What's your setup?
So I've just got a mat down here on the floor. I got a bike that just got delivered back in the back. I've just brought from home a couple of little bands, an ankle band, foam roller, another band for shoulder work. Here you can see trusty lacrosse ball for any tight spots. The bare essentials. So it's tricky, but you can do a lot with these things. I'm learning. So just trying to come up with different things that keep workouts and different things a bit more exciting each day, or you look forward to it a little bit. And trying to learn some new things also that we maybe don't have time to do. But that's basically the extent of my workout, my gym, my home gym, if you will.
Good stuff. And how have you been passing the rest of the time? Or are you a Netflix person? Do you nap? Are we FaceTiming your wife? How's it going?
All of the above. These last 2 days, I actually got it on right there. The football games back home have been on, which have been great. I'm a pretty big NFL fan, so that first game was great. The game yesterday were awesome, and now this Saints Bucks game with Brady and Breeze is always entertaining to watch two Hall of Famers go at it. So that's been my 2 days. After that's over, I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but that's been taking up a fair bit of time the last couple of days. So we'll show it here in Australia, and it's good. Time difference works out too.
Good stuff. All right. Well, those of us who are not professional athletes, we see food as something to eat when we're hungry, but when this is your job, when tennis is your job, it's kind of more like fuel. And it's, you're very particular. A lot of people are very particular about what goes in their bodies. We've seen some reports on social media, some photos of the food. What's your evaluation?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie and tell you it's great. It's not the best. It's not probably what we would eat if we had our choice by any stretch of the imagination. But we're lucky. Tennis Australia does give us the opportunity to get food from out through Uber Eats or whatever, and it goes to go through an inspection process. So that's definitely a good option. The choices or the freebies, if you will, have not been amazing, but at least there's another option.
Sure. And true that there's $100 a day to use to go toward Uber Eats, or there's an allowance?
Yeah, there's something of an allowance, I believe, that's going to be tacked on to prize money at the end of the event that is for that reason. So, yeah.
Do you have a favorite Uber Eats destination should you venture from the hotel food? Yeah. Here in Australia, their Indian food's pretty good, and I'm a big fan of Indian food for obvious reasons. So that would probably be my first thought. Sushi is another good option for me. I like that. And the other thing that you kind of don't get sometimes is just like a nice salad or something somewhere from these from the freebie meals. So that would be something I would look for. I don't know, but my wife would have been really useful for that. She's really good at finding good places to eat. So all right. And Raj, I want to finish with show and tell. Pretty self-explanatory. Is there anything that you can show us in your room? I feel like you're probably a really neat guy. Am I imagining that, or are you
You're imagining that. So I'm not going to show you the rest of my room because you're definitely imagining that. Okay. Especially after you set me up like that. But no, one of the lucky things is my window does open, which is really good, which helps the quarantine situation. They're behind the curtains back there, but the window does open to a certain extent, so that's really nice. But and it's spacious. I got some room to like put my mat down and do my stuff on the floor here, so that's another positive. So just trying to look at the positives,
I love it. So you're not going to show us your sock drawer? Is that what you're telling us?
Not going to show you my sock drawer. No, sorry about that.
All right. Fair enough. Do you have a little bit of a view at least?
No, I get to see the other side of the wall of the hotel, so I don't have a view whatsoever. But fresh air is what I'm going for at this point.
All right, so we're not missing anything.
We're not missing anything.
We're not actually.
Not even a little bit.
Good stuff. Well, Raj, hey, like I said at the beginning, I appreciate your time, which you have a lot of at the moment, but thanks for spending some of it with
Not
us.
valuable at the moment. Of course, my pleasure.
And best of luck. Hey, I hope it goes as quickly as possible, and keep us posted on social media. I loved your tutorial on how you had to bag your trash the other day.
That was one of the ones that, yeah, I mean, I've gotten a couple of responses telling me that, it's like the food is contaminated, so that's why you double bag it. I guess that makes sense, but my question of that is like, what if I touch the bag, or, I just don't, I guess I don't understand the whole process. I understand it's contaminated, but I feel like even the outside bag would be contaminated. So that was my thought.
And I don't think that's completely illogical thinking, but again, I would love it if you kept us updated on social media, and we really hope that you can pull off a miracle twice. Last year.
Maybe it's my secret to playing well. Just stop practicing.
There you go. All right. Well, Rajeev Ram, again, we appreciate you joining us.
Thanks.